We've already got some rain out there this morning and severe storms developing.
So start every day with the best in weather. Join Jim Cantori, Stephanie Abrams, and Jen Carfagno weekday mornings starting at 5 for AMHQ on the Weather Channel.
You see this? Tornado spotted Davis, California. Since bales of hail,
You got it.
bales
You're there.
of hay swirling around. Look at that.
You can see some of them, yeah.
Wow.
Big dusty tornado too. Wow. Those hay
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I
no,
did
we
that to
all
you.
can't do it. Those hay
Hail.
bales.
It's hard to say all of a sudden.
It is. We're professionals. A survey team went out, determined this was actually an EF0. They said there was no other damage except for a small bent tree.
Well, the farm is right there. I mean, I don't know if there was like a orange grove or what that was necessarily, but
There were hay bales going crazy.
they were going all over the place. That was a wild scene. Hey, thanks for staying with us. You're watching Weather Underground. I'm Mike Bettis.
I'm Alex Wilson. We had some damaging storms in parts of the Midwest this weekend, including Champaign, Illinois. You're looking at some of the ominous skies that you saw. Actually, some rotating supercell thunderstorms. There you go, right down the middle. We're reported tornadoes near Champaign. And you know what? We've got to watch for tornadoes again today. Unfortunately, we could get these supercell thunderstorms. So these storms that produce those rotating updrafts, similar to what you were looking at in that picture. You could see the overall cloud rotation. And those are the storms that so often produce tornadoes. Also the really, really big hail. Right now, we've got a few storms that are capable of producing some really big hail down into south central sections of Nebraska. This one is crossing I-80 right at Kearney. Buffalo, Kearney, and Sherman are some of the counties under in the path of this warning or under the warning. 6:45 is your expiration. We've got another warning back off to the south and west. So big hail in excess of 1 inch in diameter a possibility, as well as gusty damaging winds. Minneapolis, we do have a few thunderstorms now beginning to fire off to your west. So we're beginning to see that lightning. At first we were dealing with storms, or rather showers. Now we continue to see those develop, thunder and lightning. We could see severe storms moving into Minneapolis as we head into the evening, even the overnight. We've got to watch the overnight hours because I want you to look at the future radar. So doing a pretty good job with the initiation of the storms. As we move forward in time, we'll continue to watch for strong thunderstorms into the midnight hour across Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota, also the state of Iowa. Hail, damaging winds, possible tornadoes. As we move forward, now we're in the early morning hours of your Tuesday. Still some strong thunderstorms from Omaha, areas north of Des Moines. Minneapolis could be a soggy and stormy start to your day, even around bus stop pickup time, morning commute time. And same goes for Minneapolis, same goes as what we saw in Minneapolis for Des Moines, for an Omaha. Even in Milwaukee, by late tomorrow morning, you could be seeing some soaking rain and some strong thunderstorms. Mike?
And then we've got the battle of the seasons going on, opposite ends of the country, opposite weather. Check this out. We had big snow over the weekend in Montana. That's a look at Fairfield, Montana, where we had about 16 inches of snow and it was drifting. And then we take a live look at Macon, Georgia, where it's currently 94 degrees. Like, the huge contrast is just unmistakable. One's winter, one's summer. But we're neither in winter nor in summer. We're in fall now. Look at Montana. My goodness. How would you like to be there right now in this? I think it'd be great to visit it. I wouldn't want to be living amongst it. 52 inches in Babb, 4 feet for us in Browning. Here in Great Falls, we had 19.3 inches of snow, making it the second biggest snowstorm in history, behind only a big April snowstorm we had 10 years ago that brought us 24 inches. But this is rare air for us, even on Montana, where we get a ton of snow in the winter, right? There's a look at the big trough that was digging across the west. You can see that really well defined here. Big ridge that's built across the east, and so that's southerly air and a lot of heat in between that Alex was just alluding to, the battle zone, and that's where you have a lot of severe weather taking place and temperatures that are a lot more seasonal. So large heat dome expands, the cold air starts to retreat a little bit, but potential record cold across the west, small area here, but a large area of record warm highs and record warm low temperatures as well. Tomorrow in Nashville, Nashville, you'll do 98 degrees. You'll do 98 degrees in Montgomery, a record 95 in Lexington, Kentucky. That heat really goes all the way to the Canadian border. For Baltimore, your latest 95-degree day on record is September 27th, and we're going to be darn close to it by Wednesday as we climb back into the middle 90s. Usually in a lot of Northeast cities, our last 95-degree day is sometime early or mid-August. Now we're talking early October. There's a little bit of cold air starting to now pull down into the middle of the country in behind our cold front, but by and large, the southwest to the deep south to the east, likely above average temperatures all the way through the 10th of October, Alex. So the heat's not relenting.
No, and it's really taking its toll across the southeast because in this part of the country, you've had very little in the way of precip. Now, Marietta, Georgia, this is on the northwest side of Atlanta, got a quick downpour over the weekend, but by and large, North Georgia, Alabama could use some good rainfall. We've got dry, and more dry. This video from Lexington. Now, almost the entire state of Kentucky has some level of drought. You can see the crisp leaves, the dry ground. If it wasn't grass, it was just dirt. Using sprinklers to try to get some moisture on that yard. By the way, that yard looks great. This one, similar to what a lot of us are seeing, kind of that dried out, what would you call that? I don't, like, it's kind of like a yellowish green color, where a lot of us are going, gosh, I would love a good rainfall over my yard. This is the deal across parts of the southeast up into the mid-Atlantic. Drier than average soil moisture. Even some areas here across Alabama and Georgia where it's much drier than average. And when we look at our drought monitor, you can really see how things have gotten worse just within the last few weeks. September 15th, yeah, we had some drought, but look what happens as we fast forward to the latest check. September 30th, now a lot of the southeast under drought, a lot moderate to severe. Rainfall's coming. It's not going to be an overwhelming amount of rain, though, unfortunately. We're thinking an inch or less for most of the southeast. You may be wondering, why is our fire danger being highlighted? Well, we do have high enough relative humidities that's helping to mitigate the threat, and winds are pretty calm, but obviously you want to use caution with anything that could lead to a fire, as we have seen problems, especially across a place like Alabama. As temperatures around the globe warm up, our food supply directly affected. And one group is working to create a more sustainable food supply, doing something called vertical farming. What is it? Jen Carfagno shows us, and she also tells us why this could be the agriculture of the future.
No sun, no soil, no pesticides, and with 95% less water than traditional farming.
Welcome to AeroFarms. Here we are, indoors, growing all year round. This is the world's largest indoor vertical farm.
You heard it right, a vertical farm. Inside, where the plants are stacked, floor to ceiling.
We're using something called aeroponics, so we're misting the roots. And our growing medium is a reusable cloth that we've actually patented. And it's actually made out of recycled waste, and so it's turning something green and productive.
This Newark, New Jersey-based company says it's nearly 400% more productive per square foot than a traditional farm with faster crop cycles. In other words, what takes about 30 to 45 days to grow outside takes 12 to 14 days here, and is sustainable and environmentally friendly.
The macro challenges we see today with traditional field farming, weather change, food recalls, worker welfare, loss of water, loss of arable land, it's more painful than ever before. We need new paradigms. It's about really by the community, for the community. So we're hiring locally, we're feeding and nourishing communities, we're creating year-round employment. And we're creating the perfect environment for the plants, but it's also the perfect environment for our team members. So it's the perfect temperature all year round.
AeroFarms is continually working to improve the science behind this new way of farming, with the goal of making a difference in communities around the world.
That's an interesting idea. I love the future of where we could be going and saving space.
Saving space, saving resources.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Healthy food.
Yeah, I think.
I love it.
And hopefully maybe this would allow some of that healthy food to get into areas where it might not necessarily be attainable. These urban areas, we could really be doing it. All right, well, coming up on Weather Underground, Miami facing a flood battle right now, but not because of heavy rain, it's tides. We're going to take a deep dive into the problem and how it's getting worse, also what the city's doing to fight back.
It's been almost a year since Hurricane Michael ravaged Mexico Beach, Florida. We'll show you how the city just got a much-needed boost to get back on its feet. That's when Weather Underground comes back.
Try Target same-day delivery. Delivered to your door so you can do more. More thrill. More skill. More chill. Target run and done.
The Subaru Forester. Dog tested, dog approved. Subaru establishes National Make a Dog's Day. Do something special for your dog.
Never Ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden, starting at $10.99. Come in for over 100 combinations of pastas, sauces, and toppings, with everyone's favorite chicken Alfredo, plus unlimited salad and breadsticks, only for a limited time at Olive Garden.
Prior to going to Aspen Dental, I've had 19 surgeries. I'm 100% permanently disabled from the military. And after I went into Aspen Dental, it was just like night and day. They told me they were going to take some x-rays. She said, and it's going to be no charge to you. I'm not used to getting that type of service. My name is Robert Chalkley, and my rank for the military was retired Sergeant Major.
At Aspen Dental, we're all about yes, like yes to payments on your timeline, not ours. Yes to pre-exam and x-rays for patients without insurance. And yes, whenever you're ready to get started, so are we. Call or book online at aspendental.com, a general dentistry office.
That's half the fun of a new house, seeing what people left behind in the attic.
Well, saving on homeowners insurance with Geico's help was pretty fun, too.
Oh, it's a tiny dancer.
Well, they left a ton of stuff up here.
Well, enjoy your house.
Nope. No, thank you.
Geico could help you save on homeowners and renters insurance.
Is skincare from around the world better than Olay? To find out, Olay faced the world. We tested our vitamin B3 formula and beat Japan's top moisturizers, South Korea's most innovative, and even the $400 French cream. Olay Regenerist faced 131 premium products from 12 countries over 10 years. Olay's hydration was unbeaten every time. Olay, face anything.
Cheez-It snacks are the most satisfying combination of crunch with cheese, with their delicious perfection.
Cheese!
It's not all about you, Cheese.
You think I have a mouth? I'm a wheel of cheese.
Got a point.
Yeah. Cheez-It, cheesy, crunchy satisfaction.
Mixed Dish is ABC's new hit comedy.
Everybody help yourself to a big scoop of my love.
It's perfectly cast and the show to watch.
Even though I haven't made any friends, I did make myself my own friendship bracelet.
She makes me sad.
New Mixed Dish, Tuesday on ABC.
The infamous off-limits room. Invented to protect vulnerable flooring from unruly behaviors like walking and standing. Until waterproof vinyl flooring came along, freeing households from the very fears that once rendered whole rooms unusable. They're called living rooms because they're for living. These are the floors homes are built on. Lumber Liquidators Flooring.
WeatherTech is known for providing the ultimate protection for your vehicle with laser-measured floor liners and cargo trunk liner, along with seat protectors and seat back protectors. And now the WeatherTech Cup Phone with removable cups fits virtually any size cup holder and adjusts to fit virtually any size phone. Even allows easy access while charging. Whatever you drive, whatever phone you have, Cup Phone is the perfect fit. Order yours today at WeatherTech.com.
Well, king tides brought high water levels along the eastern seaboard, including in South Florida, this Miami, and it's a parking lot. You see the parking blocks there? That's a parking lot that's flooded because of the king tide that we had.
So water in places that it typically is not. And we know that when we talk about a city like Miami, this is something that's going to continue to worsen. Regular tide cycles, these king tides, they're going to get exponentially worse if our expected sea level rise numbers verify.
Yeah, so what will Miami look like? Well, there's a rendering of what it could look like in the future with 8 feet of sea level rise. And Miami, listen, is at sea level, right? And so it makes sense that a lot of the city would go underwater. And so do they have to elevate it? Do they become Venice and everyone moves up to the 2nd and 3rd and 4th floor?
This is something that a lot of the people there have to think about because it's something that we're dealing with now, we're going to deal with in the years and decades to come. And this is obviously home to a lot of people.
Millions of people, and there's so much at stake. Now, we sent our Dave Malkoff to Miami to see what rising sea levels and king tides could mean for prospective homebuyers.
Hurricane Irma battered Key Biscayne, Florida, flooding parts of the island, which is just a stone's throw from Miami. But big storms are not the only thing that causes water levels to rise. The highest tides of the year, known as king tides, are a big problem as well.
Depending on where you are, anywhere from a few inches to maybe a foot of flooding on the Key, and that didn't used to be the case several years ago.
Ramya Sundaram is with the Key Biscayne Community Foundation, a nonprofit that works with residents to solve environmental problems.
Looking at what Miami Beach has been doing and what they've had to deal with, we thought it was a good idea to address it for Key Biscayne.
These so-called sunny day floods have been increasing in and around Miami Beach for decades. In 2014, Miami Beach launched a $500 million plan to fight it. South Florida is one of the areas around the world most vulnerable to sea level rise. Now there is a new technology that can help folks here and around the country see into the future. That technology is used by a company called Coastal Risk Consulting. Key Biscayne hired them to take a look at the flood potential here and find creative ways to beat it.
Our modeling showed that this is at risk of tidal flooding because the water table is shallow, and so you have water coming in through the drains and out into the streets. Over the next 30 years, that tidal flooding is only going to increase as sea levels rise. In 2045, if nothing is done, then practically every street will be flooded multiple times a year, particularly during king tide season.
Risk assessment on such a hyper-local level is a new concept this 3-year-old company hopes will catch on, using forward-looking data to provide house-to-house information. The city of Key Biscayne is now looking at their options, like those pumps you saw on Miami Beach, or even gradually raising the roads.
Most people understand that it's a problem and they want to do something to fix it and they want to help.
But some homeowners think it's too much information. They worry if they know the flooding risk, their property value will go down.
That's a big concern, and that's why a lot of the realtors don't want to touch this because they have a lot of hoops to go through before they make a sale, and they don't want to add another wrinkle to the process. This company's mission is to help people get climate ready and storm safe, and it doesn't help if you just ignore the problem.
The problem's not going away by just ignorance.
Yeah.
It's still going to be there no matter what. In fact, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, so he's saying like we got to tackle it head on and we got to work with it, and people need to be aware of it.
Miami, one of the most susceptible major metro areas in all of America, and so we have to think about it now and what we're going to do, and we have to take action sooner than later.
Great advice. Again, there's a look at what we could be up against. No, gosh, I mean, we're talking about so many people, so many people's homes, and
it's
when
all
you're
going to
talking
become
about
like
leaving your home.
a really bad Kevin Costner movie.
Mm-hmm.
We're all going to be living on boats in South Florida.
Unfortunately. Straight ahead on Weather Underground, speaking of Florida, it was almost 1 year ago that Hurricane Michael devastated Mexico Beach. Now the city is getting some much-needed help to rebuild.
Looking forward to that story, and Dr. Knapp's going to rejoin us as well. We've got Hurricane Lorenzo out there, and you might be thinking, well, big whoop. Well, it is kind of a big deal on the eastern seaboard. We're going to tell you why a hurricane that's thousands of miles away is causing some issues, and why Lorenzo went down in the record books.
Ooh.
Dr. Knapp's going to give you all the details when we come back right here on Weather Underground.
And we're watching storms right now, Kearney, Nebraska. This is Lincoln. I was going to say, Kearney should be a little bit stormier. We'll walk you through it coming up.
Cologuard, colon cancer screening for people 50 and older at average risk.
I've heard a lot of excuses to avoid screening for colon cancer.
I'm not worried. It doesn't run in my family. I can do it next year. No rush.
Cologuard is the non-invasive option that finds 92% of colon cancers. You just get the kit in the mail, go to the bathroom, collect your sample, then ship it to the lab. There's no excuse for waiting. Get screened.
Ask your doctor if Cologuard is right for you. Covered by Medicare and most major insurers.
You just never think that it's ever going to happen to your community.
And then it hit.
We were nowhere near prepared for what we witnessed.
It was very evident very quickly that this was the big one.
How can weather be that destructive in just a matter of seconds?
Oh my God, this is how I'm gonna die.
Storm Stories, the next chapter. All new episodes, Sunday nights at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Lowe's knows you'll do it right to save big on the floors you want. We do it right too, with exclusive options that are waterproof and easy to install, so you can get a better look at a better price. Get Pergo laminate flooring starting at $248 a square foot. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's.
There are 3 words that mean everything when you live with migraine. I am here. Aim to say that more with Aimovig, a preventive treatment for migraine in adults that reduces the number of monthly migraine days. For some, that number can be cut in half or more. Don't take Aimovig if you're allergic to it. Allergic reactions like rash or swelling can happen hours to days after use. Common side effects include injection site reactions and constipation. Aim to be there more. Talk to your doctor about Aimovig.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
The she shed was struck by lightning.
Is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
That's wonderful news.
Home insurance trusted by more people than any other. State Farm.
Too many people in pain settle for a restless night's sleep. There's a better choice. Aleve PM, the only one to combine a safe sleep aid and the 12-hour pain-relieving strength of Aleve that dares to last into the morning, so you feel refreshed. Aleve PM, there's a better choice.
When I get scared, weird things happen.
Emergence is a jaw-dropping thrill ride that will leave you breathless.
She's different, isn't she?
Emergence, all new Tuesday, 10/9 Central on ABC.
911 emergency. My husband is having trouble breathing.
First responders hear it a lot. And everyone age 65 and older needs to hear it too. The flu and its complications can be deadly, especially for those with a chronic medical condition. That's why there are higher strength flu vaccines for seniors. Ask your doctor or pharmacist for a senior flu shot. Do it today before the flu becomes an emergency. See your healthcare provider or visit these pharmacies.
Men, want to get your edge back after 40? With more energy, drive, performance. Do what the big hurt Frank Thomas did.
You look lean, Frank. What gives?
After 40, men slow down. It's harder to stay in shape.
Why?
Our free testosterone levels drop. It happened to me, and then I found Nugenix Total T.
New Nugenix Total T is our most powerful man-boosting formula ever because it boosts your free testosterone and your total testosterone. From the brand that brought you GNC's #1 vitality product, Nugenix Total T helps provide even more energy, performance, testosterone, and muscle-boosting ingredients for even better results. To get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, text IDEA to 231231.
You'll feel like a new man on the field and off the field.
I gotta try Nugenix Total T.
Text IDEA to 231231 now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. That's IDEA to 231231.
Pushing your forecast even further with Emmy award-winning reporting.
This is the lowest level that you should be in.
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network.
Coming up 8 p.m. right after Weather Underground, it's Defying Death, Heroes and Survivors.
Here's a preview of tonight's episode, Heroes of the Storms.
A terrifying tornado targets an elementary school.
Turned around and saw it and just couldn't believe it. Looks like a bomb had gone off.
Storm chasers answer the call of the wild.
It's just being held down by this invisible force of wind and then hail pelting it.
A wipeout in the world's biggest waves spells disaster in Portugal.
If I didn't pick him up,
He could die.
And a teen is swept to the brink of death.
I really believed I was not going to make it out. I thought I was going to die there.
Survivors coming up immediately after Weather Underground, about 6 minutes from now.
Well, we are quickly approaching the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Michael's landfall in the Florida Panhandle.
The Category 5 storm was the strongest to ever hit that part of the state.
And we know the recovery continues to be a slow struggle at Michael's ground zero. That's the community of Mexico Beach.
Much of Michael's wreckage is gone now. The Category 5 hurricane leveled 80% of Mexico Beach. Debris removal, a $60 million job for a town that runs on an annual budget of $3 million.
I understand the progress is slow, but I do see progress.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in Mexico Beach announcing a $1.1 million grant for the town's fire and police departments.
Some of the local services were in jeopardy, and so we saw an opportunity to support the Mexico Beach Fire Department as well as the police, some law enforcement operations.
Mexico Beach Mayor Al Cathy says hotels would not rebuild without fire and police protection.
Your fire and police are part of just the bare roots of your community.
The hurricane destroyed 3 of the town's 4 hotels. The 4th is being repaired, but it may not reopen until next summer.
I think it's important that our citizens, our property owners, that they know that we have a full-time fire and police department.
The cash infusion is a big relief for Mexico Beach firefighters.
One of the biggest issues that was facing us was us not knowing if we were going to have a job next year, or in 6 months, or in 3 months.
It's a tough go there in Mexico Beach. I know I went a few days. You actually spent a lot of time there, Dr. Navin. When we saw what was there, no surprise that it's taking so long. This is something that just gets cleaned up in a few minutes.
No, and so much of what is ingrained in my memory from Michael is how many completely wiped clean foundations there were. Nothing left of the homes due to storm surge primarily, but a few of the homes did survive, especially that one in particular that we showed that was built way above code. But you know, when we showed that, I always feared that it would mislead people to think that you have to have a multi-million-dollar home to survive a hurricane, but there were so many examples in the Panama City area with these Habitat for Humanity homes that survived because they were built solid. So Michael showed us that we can build better and withstand the worst of hurricanes if we decide just to pay a little bit more compared to what you would have paid for the home without those improvements.
To me, it seemed like you could make some comparisons as far as the storm damage to a Katrina on a different scale.
Absolutely.
If you looked at like the Mississippi coastline and this coastline, they looked similar.
That's exactly what it reminded me of, because I walked the ground in both of those events just days after the storm surge event happened, and it did look eerily similar. And what Michael makes me worry about, though, is that there were still dozens of people left in Mexico Beach the night before, and the police went door to door, knocking, getting people to evacuate, and not everybody did, and some of the people that they tried to get to evacuate didn't survive. And the reason that most of the people were able to get out the night before was because Mexico Beach is a small enough community that you can wait till the last minute to evacuate. If we have a rapidly intensifying Cat 4 or 5 going to a larger metro area, and a lot of people haven't evacuated as instructed, we could lose a lot more lives than we did in Mexico Beach. So let that be a lesson that when you're told to evacuate, you've got to go.
That was one Category 5. We've had a few this year, including Lorenzo. And Lorenzo's location makes it a notable Cat 5.
Yeah, this doesn't usually happen when you get a Category 5 this far north and east in the Atlantic Basin. In fact, it's about as far northeast as it could happen based on where the water temperatures are. I'll show you that in just a moment. So here's where we have active tropical systems right now. Narda off the Pacific coast of Mexico, bringing some moisture into the southwest U.S., and then Hurricane Lorenzo. That is no longer a Category 5, it's Category 2, but it's a large one. It's 500 to 600 miles across if you measure the extent of winds of tropical storm force. It's making that right-hand turn. Azores under hurricane and tropical storm warning. Here's where Lorenzo became Cat 5 over the weekend. much farther north and east than we have seen that. And if you look at the tracks of the Cat 4 and 5 hurricanes, most of the time those tracks are out in here, not way out in this part of the basin, but look at where Lorenzo's track has taken it so far east, now going to the northeast, still stronger than most of the systems that are that strong to the north and west of there. Here's where it could become extratropical and bring some waves and winds to Ireland and the UK. And here's where it is now. And then look at the sea surface temperature pattern. It hugged this boundary where the 80-degree line is. If it had taken a track just a little farther to the east, it never would have gotten to Cat 5. So this is about, again, as far northeast as you can become that strong. And then also, because it is so large and so strong, it's sending these swells that are crossing the Atlantic, and we've got a high risk of rip currents tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. The entire east coast of the U.S. is at risk. And by the way, Hurricane Center is also looking at a few other things out there. Some disturbed weather in the western part of the basin. There's a broad area of low pressure here, a weak trough here, 10 to 20% chances of development. This one is coming into the Gulf, this one headed out to sea. But then the thing that I'm more concerned about longer term, watch what the European model does when we get into about a week from now. Here comes the next tropical wave crossing the basin, could affect the islands if it holds together with that big ridge over the western Atlantic about a week from now.
Something we'll keep our eye on. Dr. Knapp, thank you.
All right, well, for all of us here at Weather Underground, we thank you so much for watching.
We hope you have a great night. Remember, together we know more. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night.
Got it.
A terrifying tornado targets an elementary school.
Turned around and saw it and just couldn't believe it. It's like a bomb had gone off.
Storm chasers answer the call of the wild.
It's just being held down by this invisible force of wind and then hail pelting it.
A wipeout in the world's biggest waves spells disaster in Portugal.
If I didn't pick him up, he could die.
And a teen is swept to the brink of death.
I really believed I was not going to make it out. I thought I was going to die there.
The worst of weather can bring out the very best in people. In desperate situations, the heroic hand of a stranger may be the difference between life and death. But sometimes it's simply our superhuman spirit that keeps us alive. These are stories of bravery and defiance. This is Heroes and Survivors Defying Death. On average, more than 1,200 tornadoes strike the United States every year, making it the most tornado-prone nation on Earth. Tornadoes are rated by the damage they cause. At the top end are EF5s.
EF5 tornadoes, you're talking about a monster. It is just a big, angry buzzsaw that rolls across the landscape, destroys everything in its path.
Between 1950 and 2013, there were only 59 F5 or EF5s in the U.S. That's less than 1% of all tornadoes. But incredibly, Moore, Oklahoma has been hit by 2 of them.
Moore, Oklahoma is just south of Oklahoma City, which is right in the middle of the classic tornado alley in the plains. Oklahoma is one of those places where everything comes together. You need a couple of things to make tornadoes. You need warm and humid air from the Gulf of Mexico. You need some colder air coming down, and associated with that are very strong winds, a lot for what we call deep layer shear. And you certainly have that in Oklahoma.
The 2 most powerful tornadoes to hit Moore both touched down in the same month. The first in 1999, and the second in 2013, in a cruel twist of fate. May 2019, 19-year-old Jacob Lyles is a college student on summer break in his hometown of Moore. He's lived there most of his life and knows that tornadoes go with the territory.
For me, growing up, it was just something you became used to. You know, after your second, third year of tornado season and them going off so often, became one of those things where everyone just kind of stands out in their driveway and watches.
Another local Moore resident, Kim Martinez, is a teacher at Plaza Towers Elementary School.
I was in my 3rd year of teaching. I taught 4th grade for 3 years at that time.
The morning of May 20th starts out full of promise.
It was our last week of school, and me and my coworker had a lot of fun activities planned.
But Moore and much of eastern Oklahoma are already preparing for the possibility of severe thunderstorms later that day.
My cousin texted me and told me, hey, there's supposed to be bad weather. Pay attention to your phone and the news today. They're saying big chance of tornadoes. And I just texted her back. I was like, oh yeah, that's what they always say.
But this time, it proves true. At 2:56 p.m., a strong tornado touches down near the neighboring city of Newcastle.
I got a tornado on the ground.
Following a similar path to the 1999 tornado, the twister begins churning its way towards Moore.
I feel so bad for the people that are in path of this.
A storm like that is going to cause such complete devastation, and roofs are going to collapse, walls are going to collapse. You've got a much better chance if you're underground or in a storm shelter.
Since the F5 in 1999, many homes, including Jacob's neighbors, have underground shelters.
They always told us, anytime something happens, if we need to go, y'all are more than welcome to come over here.
As the monster tornado rolls into town, his neighbors scramble into the storm shelter. But Jacob is fascinated and starts recording this scene on his cell phone.
It's coming right at us.
Once we saw the roofs of houses start to lift off, right there at the end of our street, that's when we decided to go ahead and we should probably get in the shelter.
The storm engulfs the street. Jacob and his neighbors cower in the packed shelter.
Sounded like people just had sledgehammers and were out there just wailing on this metal door. And I remember it start to rattle because the wind was pulling up on it. So I reached over my shoulder and held onto the handle and just kind of crunched down and put all my weight onto it. It was loud, very loud, very scary. And then it got quiet.
Jacob slowly inches the shelter door open.
Oh my God, it's gone, it's gone.
All the houses were just destroyed. Fences gone. It was, looks like a bomb had gone off.
The tornado continues its deadly path. Now it's heading toward Plaza Towers Elementary.
A fifth grade teacher started yelling down the hallway, it's here, it's here.
Inside, Kim Martinez and her students are in the bathrooms. With no storm shelters in the building, it's their only hope of survival.
You could kind of hear the roof peel up and then throw itself back down. And then eventually you just heard it rip completely off. I said, cover your heads and get down and hold on to the toilet if you need to. One of the little girls next to me was praying that God put us in a bubble and protect us. I thought about my husband and my parents, what they must be thinking, and so I was like, wow, this is it.
After only a few seconds, the tornado passes.
We just had tons of stuff around us and on top of us, like beams that were just laying across me and my students and other students in there. And the tornado siren was actually still going off at that point. So we had no idea if there was another one coming. So it was terrifying.
Close by, Jacob leaves his shelter and goes house to house in search of survivors.
That was kind of hard to explain. These calming feeling came over me, and I was actually talking to myself, but it wasn't me saying it. It was, I don't know, I feel like it was maybe God's presence, and you were put in the situation for a reason. You can go help people.
Then, to his horror, he catches sight of his old school.
Turned around and saw it and just couldn't believe it. I just took off running and running through what was really just like leveled houses, wood. The streets, you couldn't see the street. It was just debris everywhere.
Plaza Towers Elementary is decimated.
When I got up there were a lot of little kids around, some teachers. They handed a teacher out of this hole, and I recognized her, and I kept hearing her say, my babies are under there, save my babies.
As one of the first on the scene, Jacob joins the desperate search for survivors. Nobody knows how many children and teachers are inside.
Started digging some of the bricks out and made a little hole. And I just kind of got down on all fours and peeked my head underneath the brick. And there's a little girl staring me right in the face, and I was just like, holy smokes, this just got real.
My car is my after-work decompression zone. So when my windshield broke, I found the experts at Safelite Auto Glass. They have exclusive technology and service I can trust.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
This is Hal. This is Hal's heart. It's been broken and put back together. This is also Hal's heart. And this is Hal's relief, knowing he's covered. This is Hal's heart, and it's beating better than ever. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Hal. And with easy access to quality health care, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
The Subaru Ascent. Dog tested, dog approved. Subaru establishes National Make a Dogs Day, helping hard-to-adopt dogs find homes.
This is the Little Flower Soap Company, a small business on Amazon. I'm Holly.
I'm Justin.
This is their beautiful, luscious, flower-filled soap. These are their employees. And we're hiring. This is their lavender field. It's still growing. This is the worst smelling thing in their office. This is just one of the small and medium-sized businesses you can shop on Amazon.
Never Ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden, starting at $10.99. Come in for over 100 combinations of pastas, sauces, and toppings, with everyone's favorite chicken Alfredo, plus unlimited salad and breadsticks, only for a limited time at Olive Garden.
I know people love the dish remote. It's great. So why build in the Google Assistant? I mean, who really needs a TV remote that can turn the thermostat up,
change temperature to 72,
the lights down,
dim the lights,
and still access their DVR?
play video game?
Actually, some people could absolutely use a remote like that. The new Dish Voice Remote. Dish, tuned in to you.
This is epic!
You're watching America's most trusted TV news network,
We've got a severe weather threat. We are live on the ground. Right now, it's coming down.
the Weather Channel.
For the second time in 14 years, a rare EF5 tornado is pulverizing the city of Moore, Oklahoma.
It had winds of over 200 miles per hour. A tornado like this actually doesn't leave anything in some areas.
College student Jacob Lyles, who grew up in Moore, captures the terror on his cell phone as he and his neighbors survive the twister inside a shelter. Nearby, his old school, Plaza Towers Elementary, suffers a direct hit. Fourth grade teacher Kim Martinez takes refuge in a bathroom with some of her students.
It sounded like a train on tracks, really. I mean, you hear that, and you don't really know what that's going to sound like until you're in it.
Miraculously, the walls of the bathroom are still standing, and the lives of Kim and her students are spared.
I remember looking up and thinking, like, we made it. How did we make it? We're okay. And then as we were coming out of that is when I looked at the rest of the school and at the neighborhood that used to be around us, and everything was leveled.
Kim and her students are safe, but beneath the wreckage, children and teachers are still buried. From his neighborhood a quarter-mile away, Jacob rushes over to help. What he sees hits him hard.
I remember a package of washable markers kind of dumped out on the ground, and it was the thick markers. I was like, I remember how young I was when I was using those in school. So kind of put into perspective to me how young these children were.
It's all hands on deck searching for survivors. Jacob claws through the debris and finds a little girl alive. He accidentally records the drama on the cell phone in his pocket.
I got you, sweetie. Okay? Come here. Come on. Can you move?
Her leg is turning stuck.
Can you pull it out or no?
I think.
No? All right.
Crawled down in there and was very tight and was digging stuff out from around her because she was stuck.
Come on. Can you get it? You got it? All right, come on, sweetie. Yeah. Come on.
Once I got enough, I just kind of backed out of the hole with her and handed her off to somebody.
Okay. Come on.
Thank you so much.
Come on, sweetie. Come on.
With one saved, Jacob continues to search for more survivors.
I got another one.
My back hurts really bad.
Oh, yes. Hey, sweetie, I'm coming, okay? Okay? Hey, look at me. Look at me right now. Stay calm. I'm going to get you out of here, okay? All right, baby. You got a wall on you, okay? We're going to get you out of here. Stay calm, all right?
She's pinned down. I can't get it off of her. So they brought in some tools, jacked that wall up to get it off of her, and she came out.
Both the girls Jacob rescues survive, but it's clear to him others will not.
There were ones under there that I could not help, that I did see, and I just said, there's children that have passed away down here.
Despite the heroics of volunteers like Jacob and professional first responders, 7 Plaza Towers students are among 24 people killed by the tornado.
Losing those 7 children was probably the hardest part of the whole thing. I knew that I had survived, but them not surviving was just terrible.
I'm glad I was able to help the ones that I was able to help. However, it's so sad, so sad that for those families, those children, what happened that day.
The tornado has a profound effect on Jacob Lyons, who finds his calling helping people as a first responder. He even gets a tattoo to honor the life-changing event.
And it just says, always remember your beginning, which that day was my beginning. That day showed me my purpose in life. It showed me what I can do, what I'm good at, ways that I can help make the world a better place.
While tornadoes can be deadly, they remain the holy grail for storm chasers. Keeping a safe distance from the supercells that spawn these monsters is always the objective. But when 2 Montana chasers get caught in a massive thunderstorm, they find themselves making a hail of a rescue. Montana, big sky country, miles upon miles of rugged countryside, with a few lonely roads connecting scattered communities. It's here that storm chasers Brendan Lawrence and Matt Hanvold call home.
For us, Montana's a good place to chase because it isn't a good place to chase. We can't just go out and get a tornado every year in Montana. We're not known for severe weather. Out here, it's kind of a challenge, and we like that challenge.
Out in the field, Matt and Brendan provide the National Weather Service with up-close and personal accounts of what's happening with the storm. In remote areas, that can save lives.
More often than not, there's no one else on this storm. There's a farm out there that's about to be hit and their crops might get ruined. Those people need warnings too.
That's a great help to know, like, is this thing actually producing a tornado? Is there a tornado on the ground? How big is it? Is it behaving erratically?
June 24th, 2015. Brendan and Matt are on a chase, monitoring an approaching storm just east of Miles City, Montana.
On the radar, it looked like your classic bullseye, just a very intense lone thunderstorm heading straight to the east. So, well, let's follow this and see if it even develops a wall cloud or any tornadic potential.
It's a dark storm. There's a lot of moisture in it. We see a lot of dark gray. Some storms don't have a ton of moisture. This one, we could tell, had a lot of rain or hail in it.
The 2 men part to watch the storm unload.
It was almost like this storm was announcing itself, saying, you better watch out because, business.
Hail starts coming down. It's about quarter-sized hail, about an inch in diameter, falling, pinging off the roof, getting some good footage. Well, then the hail starts getting a little bigger.
We got tennis balls. Yeah.
We had tennis ball size hail. It was incredibly intense. I remember I did a lot of screaming that day because it was so loud.
Oh God, we got bad wind here.
the car's starting to like buck and shake a little bit, and the gusts probably, we're estimating maybe 90, maybe even a little more. It was some of the strongest winds we've ever put our vehicle through.
The windshield is smashed and the car is taking a beating. Suddenly, through the shattered glass, Brendan spots something moving outside.
Oh, it's a deer! Oh my God!
At today's Best Western, stay 2 nights and get a free night at over 4,200 hotels worldwide. 1 night, 2 nights, free night. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Try our floors on your floor with Picture It from Lumber Liquidators. Snap, swipe, save what you love. Only at llflooring.com.
DiGiorno pizza bakes fresh in your own oven and travels straight to your table.
Unlike delivery that goes from oven to box to bag to car to traffic to wrong houses.
Nobody delivers a piping hot and crispy crust like a DiGiorno pizza.
It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
We're genetically connected.
The miracle of DNA testing has turned our worlds upside down. I have sisters. You know, it's a blessing and a curse. Can I borrow $50?
Almost Family premieres Wednesday on Fox.
I can't believe it.
What? That our new house is haunted by Casper the Friendly Ghost?
Hey, Jill. Hey, Kurt. Movies? I'll get snacks.
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on our car insurance with Geico.
I got snacks. Ooh, I got popcorn. I got caramel corn. I got kettle corn. Right. Am I so too loud?
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable, inconvenient, and disruptive to your life. But with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on, uninterrupted, because you'll have power when you need it the most.
24 days we were without power. I had water, I had ice, I had coffee, I had air conditioner. I was able to stay here because of the Generac.
Get the safety, security, and peace of mind your family deserves with a home standby generator from Generac. 8 out of 10 home generators are Generac, with thousands of satisfied customers.
Very good product. Very, very good reviews from everybody.
Prices start at just $19.99. And special financing is available with surprisingly affordable monthly payments. Call now to schedule your free in-home assessment, and you'll receive a 7-year extended warranty absolutely free. That's a $695 value. Call or go online today. Power your life with Generac.
Storm chasers Brendan Lawrence and Matt Hanvold are caught in a relentless hailstorm out on the plains of Montana.
It would go, oh, here's some hail and wind, and then, oh, here's some more hail and wind, and then it just kept doing this and increasing. And I remember looking to Brendan and saying, is this going to stop?
As the men shelter in their vehicle, hail the size of golf and tennis balls hammers down, punching spiderweb cracks in their windshield.
The windshield is your last line of defense before that hail is in your lap, and that wind is coming through the vehicle. So a little bit of nervousness going on as far as, our safety.
We're having to yell at each other just to hear ourselves over like the racket of like the wind gusts and the amount of hail in it. It's just a phenomenal roar.
Suddenly, through the onslaught of hail, Brendan and Matt spot a young pronghorn similar to a deer, and it's caught in the open.
You see it? Oh no! It's mangled.
The sagebrush has been stripped to just twigs poking up out of the ground at this point, so there's very little shelter now.
There was a lot of destruction happening, and then you see this living thing in the road, in the middle of the highway, laying on its side trying to get up, and it's just being held down by this invisible force of wind, and then hail pelting it.
As the barrage continues, the men are torn between staying relatively safe in their vehicle or risking life and limb to rescue the animal.
Oh, we should help it. How though? I remember thinking, I'm probably not going to get the door open because the wind was so extreme. We just didn't think we'd be able to have the strength to open the door. And then, of course, if you can't do that, well, why are you going to go out in it? I mean, that's just reckless.
This poor little animal is looking around, and me and Matt are talking about, well, what do we do? Are we just going to film this thing getting beat up?
Is there something I can put over it? Maybe your coat. That's all I can think of.
Suddenly, Matt can't take the animal's suffering any longer, and he steps out into the elements.
I actually don't remember being hit with a single hailstone. I was just pretty ramped up and excited that we're about to do something here that is crazy.
Thought he was just going to cover it up with we had a big metal container lid. Well, can he cover it up with that or his coat or something, try to shield it?
But Matt has a much more ambitious plan. He wraps the pronghorn in his jacket and heads to the car. To his relief, the animal offers no resistance.
I remember telling myself, if it starts getting crazy, if this thing doesn't want this, I'm going to let it go and we'll just call it good. I tried,
Freak out. I got it.
Okay. It was just surreal that this thing's letting me put it in the car. It's like, I think I made the right decision here.
It thrashes around a little bit and it kind of kicks at me a bit, and I was wondering, I don't want to take a hoof in the face or anything.
When it started kicking, I kind of held it a little bit just to restrain it, so that I'm like, okay, I get your message, you probably want out now.
I think the hail's over.
Okay.
After 5 minutes or so, the storm has subsided just enough to let the restless animal go.
Some people are going to say this was the stupidest thing ever. I'm definitely happy that I went out and did what I did. I feel good about it.
You think it's okay?
I think so.
I mean, he looked like he just had a bad day, and he seemed pretty high spirits, but guaranteed that animal had to have been sore for a week after that.
Up ahead, a world-class wipeout as a big wave rescue goes dangerously wrong.
You're in the middle of these white waters, waves all over the place, and your friend just right there, just to get smashed in the rocks.
And a teenager is swept towards a raging waterfall with a 270-foot drop.
I really believed I was not going to make it out.
Budget meeting.
Sweet.
You compare last quarter to this quarter.
It's no wonder everything seems a little better with the creamy taste of Philly. Made with fresh milk and real cream. It must be the Philly.
3 out of 4 people think this much horsepower is excessive. 3 out of 4 people are wrong. If we were for everyone, we'd be for no one.
Only Captain D's ultimate fish fries every day of the week. Yep, it's Southern-style whole fillets daily. 4 meals start at $4.99. That's right. It's always a Fish Friday when the captain is coming. Captain D's.
So, Kim, you going for a big Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep. Using the app, I've been quite vigilant.
Easy.
But you're in labor.
Don't mess with my discount!
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
If you have moderate to severe psoriasis or psoriatic arthritis, little things can be a big deal. That's why there's Otezla. Otezla is not an injection or a cream. It's a pill that treats differently. For psoriasis, 75% clearer skin is achievable with reduced redness, thickness, and scaliness of plaques. For psoriatic arthritis, Otezla is proven to reduce joint swelling, tenderness, and pain, and the Otezla prescribing information has no requirement for routine lab monitoring. Don't use if you're allergic to Otezla. It may cause severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting. Otezla is associated with an increased risk of depression. Tell your doctor if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts, or if these feelings develop. Some people taking Otezla reported weight loss. Your doctor should monitor your weight and may stop treatment. Upper respiratory tract infection and headache may occur. Tell your doctor about your medicines and if you're pregnant or planning to be. Otezla, show more of you.
So you have 10 years experience.
I do.
But no PhD.
I do have a master's in early childhood development.
You don't mind if I just record this, do you?
No.
First kid?
Here's all the numbers, food's in the fridge. Oh, and Lucas likes to pull on jewelry, so you might want to lose the nose ring.
By their second kid, parents are more likely to choose Loves. It absorbs 20 times its weight, and the triple leak guards lock away wetness for outstanding leakage protection. Live, learn, and get Loves.
This fall, book 2 separate qualifying stays at choicehotels.com and earn a free night. Because when your business is rewarding yourself, our business is you. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
There's something out there for you and me, and the American road is calling, so what's it gonna be? Hey, it's an amazing day, traveling our own highway. No matter where it leads us, we can smile, 'cause it's meaning in the miles.
DiGiorno pizza bakes fresh in your own oven and travels straight to your table.
Unlike delivery that goes from oven to box to bag to car to traffic to wrong houses.
Nobody delivers a piping hot and crispy crust like a DiGiorno pizza.
It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Hurricanes and nor'easters are some of the world's worst ocean-powered storms. Most people try to avoid them at all costs.
When they form out in the ocean and you see them on satellite imagery, they're compelling. It's kind of mesmerizing. It's cool to see that. But when they come on shore, you don't want to be there. You don't want what this is bringing. You don't.
But there are some who see ferocious storms as a gift from the gods. They're big wave surfers, and they'll go wherever the storm takes them in search of the ultimate ride.
This is what they want. This is exactly what they want. While there, a lot of us are saying no way, they're saying bring it on, man. These guys are waxing up the boards. This is what they're hoping for. And a lot of times they may get a little bit more than what they anticipate.
Some of the biggest waves in the world can be found in a small village in Portugal. And when things go wrong here, surfers can find themselves in a nightmare in Nazaré. Nazaré, Portugal, one of the most popular seaside resorts in the country. Situated on the west coast, it's often at the mercy of some of the Atlantic Ocean's biggest storms.
Portugal is squarely in the target zone for energetic ocean swells that, despite sometimes decent weather, can bring very angry ocean conditions.
Just off the coast of Nazaré, a massive undersea canyon, 140 miles long and 16,000 feet deep, turns ocean swells into gigantic waves.
When you have an underwater canyon, that really churns up the ocean in ways that a flat bottom wouldn't. And that leads to an effect on where and how high the waves break as they approach the coastline.
Nazaré's waves can reach 80 feet or more, making it a mecca for professional big wave surfers. Like Pedro Scooby Viana, surfing is his job and his passion.
I think being a big wave surfer is about the relationship with nature. You really know and respect the sea. I I think it stops being about just surfing, and you become a warrior, trying to be part of it and get out alive.
Scooby's occasional training partner, Everaldo Peito Texiera, is surfing royalty in Brazil.
Surf started my life when I was 15 years old, and for my first week of surf, I realized that big waves would be my goal.
During a long and successful pro surfing career, Peito has ridden some of the biggest waves on the planet.
When we call big waves, we call from 12-footer to 16-footer to 70-footer waves.
Wiping out on waves this big and powerful can be deadly.
A lot of people who attack the big waves, train for years in order to be even remotely in enough physical shape to attempt this dangerous feat. Because one thing they have to train for is if they get caught under a wave as it breaks, and they could be trapped underwater for several minutes and have to be able to hold their breath while the waves keep crashing and pounding on them.
February 2017, Storm Ewan is churning over land and sea, bringing Arctic conditions and wind gusts up to 90 miles per hour to Great Britain.
These powerful wintertime North Atlantic storms that approach Europe and Great Britain are not just strong, they're incredibly large, and that makes them a big swell producer, able to blow strong winds for a long period of time over a very long distance, aimed right at Portugal.
The approaching storm grabs the attention of surfers worldwide. Scooby heads to Nazaré, where he meets up with Peito. It's Peito's first time at the legendary break.
It's a place that you have to surf once in your lifetime because it's crazy, it's big, it's powerful, it's strong.
On February 28th, the surfers wake up early and head to the famed lighthouse to check out the surf. The pounding waves are reaching 60 feet.
The waves was crazy, massive, but was not very organized, was very unorganized. The swell was too much wind, really big, so it's kind of messy a little bit.
The swells were huge as forecasted, some of the biggest I've ever seen. We still decided to go in and see what happens. When we get in, we were excited. We were catching awesome wave surfing. It was all good.
Big wave surfing is a team effort. One jet ski tows the surfer out into the waves. On shore, spotters look for wipeouts. Another jet ski waits to make a rescue if called upon.
We all have radios. Who drive these skis have radios. And the guy who looking at from the lighthouse, they looking for every movement of our team. So we have every team prepared on the beach for the worst case scenario.
Peito and Scooby will take turns to surf and ride the tow-in jet ski. As the whitewater surges, Scooby is the first to catch a giant wave.
It's the hardest type to surf, a pipe wave. It was full of bumps. It was very difficult. I thought I got through the hardest parts.
But just as Scooby thinks he's got the wave beaten, it swallows him.
Here in Nazaré, in a flash, it can go all wrong. You can go from heaven to hell in a second. At the end of the wave, I lost focus thinking I made it through. That's when I fell.
In the pounding waves, neither Peito nor the rescue ski driver, Lucas Chumbino, Chumbo, have seen Scooby fall.
It's too much wind, too much power, the waves all moving all over, so you just keep looking and listening on the radio.
Fortunately, the spotters in the lighthouse on shore see the wipeout. Alerted by radio, Chumbino swoops in for the pickup. However, at Nazaré, one monster is often followed by another.
Chumbino was able to arrive to me very fast, but a big wave was coming and made him rush. His nervousness to get me out from under the wave in time made him lose focus and caused the jet ski to roll over.
So he was kind of too much excited and just pushed too much gas and tried to escape. On that, he hit one bump and just fell over.
Now, both men are adrift in some of the world's most powerful whitewater. Making things worse, it's pushing them towards the rocky cliffs. They are in desperate need of a rescue. But this close to shore, the waves are relentless.
The problem was the waves was too close to each other. So I couldn't grab one of them right away. So I had to go 2 or 3 times.
Scooby and Chumbino are in mortal danger. Pato is their best hope for survival, but he'll have to time the rescue to perfection if he is to avoid falling victim to the waves himself. The dream trip to Nazare has just become a nightmare.
You're in the middle of these white waters, waves all over the place, and your friend just right there, just to get smashed in the rocks.
If you have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, flakes can be a reminder of your struggles with the symptoms. That's why there's Illumia. With just 2 doses, a majority of people were clear or almost clear.
Don't use if you're allergic to Illumia or any of its ingredients. Before starting treatment, your doctor should check for tuberculosis and infections. Illumia may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them.
This could be your chance to leave your psoriasis symptoms behind. Ask your doctor for Illumia today for a clearer tomorrow.
At ProPlan, we believe nutrition is full of possibilities to improve your pet's life. We're redefining what nutrition can do, because the possibility of a longer life and a healthy life is the greatest possibility of all. Purina ProPlan, nutrition that performs.
Exactly. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Nice. But, what's up with your partner?
Not again. Mimo, that's your reflection. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Pampers is here to help every parent love the changes a baby brings.
Pampers is the first and only diaper with air dry channels. They stay up to 3 times drier, so babies can sleep soundly all night. Pampers.
Prior to going to Aspen Dental, I've had 19 surgeries. I'm 100% permanently disabled from the military. And after I went into Aspen Dental, it was just like night and day. They told me they were going to take some x-rays. She said, and it's going to be no charge to you. I'm not used to getting that type of service. My name is Robert Chalkley, and my rank for the military was retired sergeant major.
At Aspen Dental, we're all about yes, like yes to payments on your timeline, not ours. Yes to pre-exam and x-rays for patients without insurance. And yes, whenever you're ready to get started, so are we. Call or book online at aspendental.com, a general dentistry office.
The Subaru Crosstrek. Dog tested, dog approved. Subaru establishes National Make a Dog's Day, helping hard-to-adopt dogs find homes.
The ups and downs of frequent mood swings can plummet you to extreme lows, lift you to intense highs, or make you feel both at once. Overwhelmed by bipolar 1 symptoms? Ask about Vraylar. Some medications only treat the lows or the highs. Vraylar effectively treats depression, acute manic, and mixed episodes of bipolar 1. Full spectrum relief of all symptoms, with just 1 pill, once a day. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor about unusual changes in behavior or suicidal thoughts. Antidepressants can increase these in children and young adults. Report fever, stiff muscles, or confusion, which may mean a life-threatening reaction. Or uncontrollable muscle movements may be permanent. Side effects may not appear for several weeks. Metabolic changes may occur. Movement dysfunction, restlessness, sleepiness, stomach issues are common side effects. When bipolar 1 overwhelms, Vraylar helps smooth the ups and downs.
Staying connected to your community is more important than ever, so stream your news just like everything else you love with Local Now. Local Now is everything you really should know.
Take it easy on those major highways and surface streets.
Do not want to miss.
3-day admission starts at 1.
An absolutely must-try all around your area. Just select your location. Then start streaming Local Now anywhere, on any screen. It's completely free and ready to go when and where you are. Local Now. Find it in your favorite app store.
February 2017. Lured by the promise of huge waves, Brazilian surfer Pedro Scooby Viana has flown to Nazaré, Portugal, to meet a powerful storm racing across the Atlantic.
As that storm trekked across the North Atlantic, it created this fetch, and it just kept pushing the ocean toward Portugal, and it kept amplifying the wave energy.
Despite the notoriously dangerous waters, Scooby is living the surfer's dream, riding a monster wave.
I surfed the wave well. It was one of the best waves I've ever surfed.
But as he comes off the crest of the wave, the Brazilian is overpowered and engulfed in the raging surf. Rescued by one of his jet ski pilots, Lucas Chumbino Chumbo, Scooby is being towed to shore. But as another huge wave closes in, Lucas panics and the jet ski overturns.
He accelerated, making a mistake. As I say, everything can go from heaven to hell in a second.
The two friends are being pounded by waves and thrown towards the cliffs. If they are not rescued quickly, they'll be smashed against the rocks. Veteran surfer Everaldo Pedro Teixeira, who's riding the tow-in jet ski, knows instinctively that this is a life or death situation.
It's so powerful, it's so strong that when you under that wave, you have no idea where you at.
Pedro speeds into the surf, expertly riding the choppy white water.
For sure, hands down, the most complicated place in the whole world to drive a ski.
But Pedro can't get both of his friends at once.
Lucas tell right away, get him Pedro, because for sure he was the guy who surfed the wave, so I pick up Pedro.
Exhausted, Pedro Scooby Viana clambers on the towing ramp and is carried to shore.
I think it's only when you reach land that you realize I'm alive. I always